He sat alone at the back of the city bus, head down, jacket frayed at the cuffs. The driver didn't greet him. The other passengers didn't see him, at least not really. A kid offered him a glance, then pulled his phone closer as if proximity might cost him something. No one asked his name. No one noticed when he dropped the photograph tucked into his coat pocket. It landed face up near the dusty heater vent. A black and white picture of 6 young men in uniform, arms over each other's shoulders, a faded American flag fluttering behind them. One of them, the man now on this bus, was in the middle. But no one looked. No one asked. When he died 3 weeks later, the obituary was 2 lines long. John M. Dalton, aged 87, passed away quietly in his apartment. No known family. No funeral plans, no ceremony. The city crematorium placed him on the weekly list, scheduled for Tuesday, 10 a.m. Routine, unremarkable. But when that Tuesday came, something extraordinary happened. By sunrise, traffic was gridlocked. Schools delayed classes. The mayor canceled his meetings. Police closed 5 city blocks. Because John Dalton's funeral, the one no one planned to attend, had drawn thousands. Veterans, soldiers, journalists, senators. And when the honor guard saluted his flag-draped casket, people whispered, "Who was he?" John Michael Dalton lived in apartment 3B of a crumbling building on Madison Street. Rent-controlled, 3rd floor, no elevator. He never complained about the stairs. He was the kind of man who always wore a belt, even when the pants didn't need one. The kind who said thank you to vending machines and nodded to pigeons. His coat had military patches, but they were old, sun-bleached, almost unreadable. When he walked to the corner market every morning at 6:10 a.m., he carried a leather-bound notebook and bought 1 banana, 1 black coffee, and the same brand of canned soup. To the cashier, he was just banana guy. To his landlord, he was the quiet one. To the city, he was nobody. No family, no visitors, no complaints. But in his apartment, lined with dusty books, faded photographs, medals that hadn't seen daylight in decades, was a history that could have filled libraries. Yet he never spoke of it until the day someone knocked on his door with a noise complaint and accidentally saw the shadow box over his kitchen table. A Medal of Honor, a silver star, a folded flag in a triangular frame, a photo of 4 men smiling in desert fatigues, 2 of whom never came back. John never told anyone what he wanted, not directly, but his actions painted a picture. He volunteered at the VA twice a month, quietly fixing wheelchairs and repairing broken radios. He left hot meals outside the door of the widow on floor 2. He wrote letters, hundreds of them, addressed only to any soldier, signed simply, "A friend who knows the cost." He didn't seek recognition, but he had one quiet hope, that the country he'd fought for still remembered, that someone, anyone, might remember him. Time has a way of erasing names. The war he fought in, buried under newer ones. His unit, disbanded. His friends, most long gone. His records, lost in a 1973 fire at the National Personnel Records Center in St. Louis. When he visited the VA hospital for back pain, the young nurse looked at his ID and blinked. "Are you sure you were Army?" He just smiled. "Pretty sure, miss. Unless I dreamed the mortifier." The city didn't know his name. The government barely had it on file. And without surviving family or an advocate, there was no one to speak for him when his body was found slumped peacefully in his chair, TV flickering static beside him. No ceremony, no folded flag, just a body marked unclaimed. A young intern at the coroner's office, Emily Chen, was assigned to call the next of kin. She found no matches, But something about the way Dalton had died, alone but dignified, with that photo in his hand, bothered her. She Googled the military patches on his jacket, then the medals in the corner. The more she searched, the more she uncovered, not from files, but from whispers, forums, obscure veteran blogs. A nickname kept coming up: Ghost Hammer. It was said he pulled 3 men out of a burning Humvee in Kandahar, that he walked 20 miles with shrapnel in his thigh to deliver intel, that he had once stood between a local village and a group of militants refusing to move. None of it was in official records, but dozens of soldiers swore he saved their lives. Emily posted a message on Reddit's veteran forum. Anyone know a John M. Dalton? Died last week. No family. VA says nothing, but something tells me he wasn't just anyone. Within hours, the post went viral. At first, it was just a few messages. Yeah, I remember him. Afghanistan, 03. If it's Ghost Hammer, then we owe him everything. He saved my entire unit. Then came the photos. Then the videos. Then the news vans. By Monday morning, the front steps of the city morgue were covered in candles, flags, and handwritten letters. Thank you for standing when no one else would. You were never nobody. A journalist tracked down a photojournalist embedded with Dalton's unit in 2004. He had archived video footage. In one clip, Dalton shielded a medic under fire. Another showed him carrying a wounded child. One video, never aired, showed Dalton giving a radio interview. I'm no hero, just a man doing what decent men should. That clip aired on CNN at 9:07 p.m. By 9:12, the mayor's office called for emergency replanning. Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. The crematorium was quiet, but downtown was not. Thousands of people, veterans, students, strangers, lined the streets. Police redirected traffic. Churches opened their doors. A military flyover was arranged in less than 12 hours. A bugler, flown in overnight, stood in full dress at the front of the convoy. At the front of the funeral procession, a flag-draped casket atop a black caisson. Behind it, rows of silent soldiers, former commanders, even a retired general in full regalia. And behind them, a city. Stopped. Watching. But amidst the tribute, Emily stood apart, guilt chewing her nerves. She had gone to Dalton's apartment the night before and discovered a box she hadn't seen before. Inside, unmailed letters, all addressed to names of people who had never answered back. And one letter, never sent, addressed to himself. If I'm found alone, don't be upset. I had a full life. I just hope I did right by the ones I left behind. She realized something. All the medals, all the service, and yet John died unsure if it meant anything, if anyone noticed, if he mattered. She wept, quietly, not for the medals, but for the doubt. As the procession moved through City Hall Square, a single child stepped forward from the crowd, held out a crayon drawing of Dalton with angel wings. A Marine escorted the child to the casket, and the drawing was placed atop the flag. Then the honor guard lifted their rifles, 3 volleys, a single trumpet, and silence. Then, in a moment no one expected, a wave moved through the crowd. One by one, men and women, veterans and civilians alike, saluted. A retired nurse raised her hand. A teenage boy mimicked the motion. A young soldier whispered, "Thank you, sir." And somewhere, above it all, It felt as if John Dalton finally stood taller than the shadows of war. Emily spoke at the podium at the end of the service. Voice trembling, she said, "They called him a nobody, but today, he shut down a city, not with power, but with quiet legacy, with the kind of life that doesn't scream, but echoes." A national news anchor closed the story with one sentence. He lived in silence, but he was never unheard. In the months that followed, a small plaza near Madison Street was renamed Dalton Square. At its center, a bronze bench with a coat draped over the back. Beneath it, etched in stone, "He never asked to be seen, but now we will never forget." The banana stand on the corner added a sign, "Dalton Special, 1 banana, 1 black coffee, $1 for veterans." Every Veterans Day, buses are rerouted around Dalton Square, not by law, but by choice. People bring candles, drawings, coins placed atop the bench. Emily visits each year. She sits quietly, reads his favorite book aloud, and always, just before she leaves, she whispers, "You were never a nobody, John. You were the thread that held us all together." Because in a world that forgets too easily, some legacies refuse to fade. If you believe no one who served should ever be forgotten, type "never forgotten" in the comments, hit like to honor the quiet heroes, and subscribe for more stories that prove silence doesn't mean invisibility. It means strength.